Rosen from WCCO TV, and it's my pleasure to introduce my good friend Ron Henderson, the Fitness King, presenting Motivation, one word to help change your life.
Welcome to Motivation. I'm Ron Henderson, aka the Fitness King. I'm excited about today's show. We have the world record holder. I say record holder. This guy that we have on the show today, his name is Andy Steinfeldt. He used to hold the record for planking, and he's from St. Louis Park, Minnesota.
That's
Welcome
correct.
to Motivation, Andy. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
This is exciting. I'm a guy that planks just a little bit. Nothing
Okay.
quite to your level, even as the Fitness King, nothing to your level. We should call him the Planking King. I want to talk about that, but before we get into that, I want to get up close and personal with you. Where did you grow up, and when was your first touch with any level of fitness whatsoever?
Okay, well, I grew up mainly in the Twin Cities, and starting at 12 years old, about a mile from here in St. Louis Park. Before that, I moved around a lot. My mother died when I was 4 years old, and we had a number of residences in southwest Minneapolis. I lived with an aunt and uncle in Iowa for a couple of years during my youth. Lived in Hopkins for a couple of years, and then, like I said, from age 12 on, St. Louis Park until I went away to college.
Okay, so you graduated from St. Louis Park High?
Graduated from St. Louis Park High.
Okay, were you involved in any sports at all?
Recreationally, I was. In those days, they had a law that I think is funny, but I had some adolescent problems, and I drank a bit, and I was apprehended once or twice. I can't remember exactly. And I was called into the, I thought it was something between me and the police, and my parents, but I was called into the principal's office at school at the beginning of 10th grade. And they said there's a Minnesota State High School League rule that if you're caught, or if you're known to have imbibed in alcohol, you're ineligible for sports for a year.
Okay.
So that would have been at a bigger high school like St. Louis Park. We had 715, I believe, in our class. If you weren't out for sports when you were a sophomore, you had to be pretty exceptional to make it later. I don't think I was exceptional. I might have been good enough to make a team, but I was off for a year, and what that caused me to do is my sport became partying pretty much in 10th grade.
Okay.
Although I will say I kept in shape, and I played rec basketball and all that sort of
Were you competitive when you were younger?
I think so, but I never did get into varsity sports for that reason, and I think that law is long gone. And what they should make you do, should have made me do, is they should make you participate in sports to get out of that other mode. Fortunately, I pulled myself out of the other mode, and I maintained my shape pretty well. And in fact, I used to do push-ups and sit-ups when I think starting at about 14 and 15, and I believe that's what gave me the basis for. I continued it all my life, even when I wasn't in such good shape.
Right.
I at least kept that upper body strength, and I think that gave me the basis for the planking.
Yeah. Did you have any motivations like I had Jack LaLanne? Did you have any of those growing up at all?
Well, I used to.
Charles Atlas, any of those things?
I remember seeing those guys. They had ads in comic books and stuff, and of course they had those fantastic bodies. Jack LaLanne, as you know, used to be on TV and doing all this stuff. I didn't really follow that, although I admired it.
Okay.
But I did keep in shape. The precursor to Lifetime Fitness was a sports and health club on Excelsior Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I know, that might have been the only location, and it was a local entrepreneur that.
Art Owens, yes.
Yeah. And fortunately, my family belonged to that, and I used to go there, and so I was in shape way back when, before most other people were.
Okay, and I have to share this with you. As a coach and as the Fitness King, I want to know about your planking.
Okay.
And that's what excited me initially when I went on TV and I saw stuff about you. I said, wow, I got to interview this guy. And then I went through everything else. You're singing, you got albums out, you do a whole host of things. But how did you first get involved with planking?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's kind of interesting. because when you become a senior citizen, when you become, which our society defines at 65 pretty much.
Right. So I'm an old man then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Geez, you're that old? When you reach that age and you go on Medicare, you're eligible for Medicare, and but to be really covered, you got to get a supplement. And so I got a supplement. I won't mention the name; it doesn't matter. But most of the supplements, they give you something called Silver Sneakers or
Right.
Silver and Fit, and with that you get free memberships to certain gyms. And I thought that was great. I had, with one of them you can get multiple memberships. That's Silver Sneakers. So that's what I got, and I went and I joined a few different places, including, and I believe it was Anytime Fitness near my house.
Is that for free?
Yeah, for free. And,
Wow.
and if you got the right supplement and Silver Sneakers, you can belong to the Y and certain lifetimes, etc. All of them at once. So I was thrilled because I was paying before that to go to one, and now I didn't have to pay, and I could go to a lot of them. So Silver Fitness was Silver. Anytime Fitness, a couple blocks from my house. And I belonged to places that were nicer, but that's convenient. It's 24/7, and it's only a couple blocks away.
What year was that?
This will,
Free guessing. How many years?
2013.
2013. Okay.
Yeah, that's when I turned 65. So I don't know if you know how that works, but it's open 24/7. It's only attended
Yep, I'm
like
aware of it.
normal business hours. So when you join, they give you a little test because they don't want people that aren't fit in there having heart attacks.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So they give you a little fitness test, and they have you doing various cardio things and various strength things. So they asked me to do a plank, and I didn't even know what it was. And so I got down, and they're used to people, if they're lucky, making it a minute. And when I got to 10 or 12 minutes, something like that, they
You had never done it before?
never done it
And you did
before.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
They stopped me and they said, "That's unbelievable. You don't have to do any more. I don't think you could do any more anyway." And in fact, the woman that did it called her manager and said, I just had a senior citizen do a 10-minute plank, and I had no idea it was anything."
Right.
And so I didn't think about it, and it's not exactly pleasant, so it's not something that I did regularly.
That's amazing,
It's,
though.
yeah, it's a little boring looking at the floor and, you know.
Never did a plank before, and the first time you did 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because you have like Greg LeMond, different people. A lot of people would hear that and they would say, was there anything different in your body that made it easier?
Well,
A lot of times there is.
Another good question. You get good ones, Ron. When I mentioned that, I think I started about age 14 doing
Right.
sit-ups and push-ups every day, and really have done it all my life. So then I was 14 to 65. That's over 50 years. So for 50 years I was training for that
Right.
without knowing it.
Sure.
So when I did it for the first time, I had a head start, if you want to call it that. So I still didn't think about it too much, but then on my turned 70 2 years ago almost, and I thought, what am I going to do? I want to do something athletic that, you know, if I have this strength, maybe I should do something, create an event. So I dreamed up an event, and I called it the Strength and Endurance Trifecta. And what it was is I started out with wall handstand push-ups. You know what those
I
are?
saw that, yeah.
Feet against the
Oh, sure.
wall, doing that with,
Yep.
and then, which I knew I could do. It's very popular in Brazil. I don't see many people doing it here, but I saw everybody doing it in Brazil, so that's where I got to start with that. Push-ups I've been doing forever, and the plank, I knew I was good at it, but I really didn't have any idea, because after that incident, I never timed myself or did it again.
Sure, sure.
So 2018, on my birthday in March, I got my Ridgedale YMCA to agree to give me a little room where I could invite some friends, and they told me, they encouraged me to invite the press. So at midnight the night before, I sent out my first press release, and I said, I've invented this thing, and here's where it is, and show up if you want. Not much lead time for a press release, but to my surprise, crew from Channel 5 was there when I showed up. So that gave me a little incentive to do it, maybe do my best. So I did, as I recall, 26 handstand push-ups, and then 40 regular push-ups. And then I went down to do the plank, and I really had no idea how long I could do it.
Right.
And I did it for 36 minutes after doing those other things.
Wow. And you didn't, but you didn't train for that 36 minutes.
No.
You said what you did growing up,
No,
but you weren't like doing 10 minutes every other day or something? or
Yeah,
20 minutes?
except for what I call cross training. I do lots of abdominal exercises, including crunches, sit-ups.
It's different than doing a plank, though, obviously.
Yeah, it is, but I didn't specifically train for the plank.
Wow.
And so
Even more, folks, that's even more impressive.
Thank you. Thanks, folks. So that went on Channel 5 News, and
And was that a record? I think it was, wasn't it?
well, it was not, because I didn't even think about a record, and I didn't check it out or anything. So, but when they put it on the news, they pretty much ignored what I did before,
Sure.
and they said, wow, a 36-minute plank, oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, because that's really impressive.
Yeah, I guess. So I didn't even know. So then when it got to be my birthday last year, I thought, well, okay, because people said they were inspired by it, and I heard from people all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought, well, what am I going to do to top that? Well, I figured since they ignored the other stuff, and everybody's so focused on the plank, I'm just going to plank.
Right.
And I honestly thought I could plank for an hour.
Wow.
But I got down there, and I had just finished my radiation treatments. And I think it sapped some strength from me.
Sure.
So I did 38 minutes.
Wow.
But in the meantime, I had looked up, I Googled record for
Plank.
age record
Yep.
for the plank. And I found a press release from about a year before that said that a 71-year-old
Right.
woman in Wisconsin had done a 36-minute and 50-second plank or something like that,
Right.
and it was a Guinness record. So I thought, okay, well, when I did it last year, 2019, I thought, well, I got to break that, but I think I can do more. So I did another press release. This time I gave them a few hours more, and 3 networks showed up.
Okay.
And I thought I was honestly going to do more, but I had to stop at 38 minutes because I just wore out, and I think I was sapped from strength. So that's what I did.
Wow.
And then I had sent that press release about the woman and having that record.
Right.
And some of the networks said that it was a Guinness record, but Guinness record has to be certified by Guinness.
Right. Sure.
Turns out that Guinness doesn't have age records, and what that woman said was that at that time, that was the female all ages record
Sure, right,
for a plank,
Sure.
36 something. So I never really did set a Guinness record, although it may be the longest plank for somebody in their 70s. I can't find anything.
For anybody, very impressive.
Yeah, I can't find anything. So this year, in the meantime, a woman from Canada blew that away.
Okay.
And just a week ago, mine never was a male record.
Right.
But a guy,
I saw that.
a guy in Chicago who's in his 60s, bless his heart,
Oh, yeah?
he did one for 8 hours or something.
Wow.
So,
I'd have to see that, because I'm always wondering if
yeah.
there's something there's something missing in his body that, you know?
this guy, I thought I was built. You should see this guy. He's a
Well, I saw it.
Yeah, he's a former Marine. It's
I saw
incredible.
it.
So I'm not in that league at all, but I still may or may not have done the longest plank recorded for somebody in their 70s. But my birthday is coming up again in March.
Yep.
And I'm going to do it again, and I hope I won't have an excuse this year. I didn't just go through. I do have a little cancer issue, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse either.
Right.
But I'm hoping to obliterate that 38 minutes that
I'm
I
sure
did
you
last
will.
year.
Yeah. Quick question, Andy. When you're planking, what do you think about for that time? Because that's a long, even if you don't break a record, 20 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
12 minutes is a long time. There's athletes that can't even do that, literally.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about?
That's an excellent question, and the answer is anything other than what I'm doing. Because if you think about, because your body, you're in mini shivers,
Right, yep.
it's going like that.
Sure.
And if you start thinking about that, I think it's bad.
Right.
So the last 2 years I've had a guitarist there because I sing.
I saw that, yes.
And I haven't played my familiar stuff. This year, I'm not going to be allowed to have a guitarist there, I don't think. So I'm going to have light music going. I'm going to have some family there.
Yep.
And you can talk and you can communicate.
Sure.
And so I'm going to try to have people distract me.
Okay.
Another thing you got to do is not forget to breathe, and that's easy to
Of course,
do
always.
when you're any kind of exercising, including running, which I
Right.
do. Sometimes you say, "Jesus, I'm not breathing," and then you
Right, watch chair.
yeah, then you start again. So I'm going to ask people that are there to remind me gently to breathe.
Right.
You also need to keep hydrated.
Yep.
So you got to figure out do you have straws, whatever, get little energy packs. But the main thing I do is I try to concentrate on
All right. Okay.
I'm not concentrating on the
All right,
exercise.
Right. So I asked you that because I did, without really training for, I told you 12 minutes, 36 seconds.
It's just
and what
amazing.
I did was I had it timed, so I had a guy watching me. They own a French metal bakery, Steve Dreamer. He was standing there timing me, and after 8 minutes I started shaking. So right at about 8:30 I put on the Rocky theme song. So I'm watching Rocky, and I'm on the floor like at 10 minutes going, "You can do it, Adrian, you can do it," because I love the movie, and it actually motivated me to go longer. But that's what I used.
Okay.
Watching a
Well,
movie like that. was something
I'm not saying I know everything. Maybe that's a good idea.
It's very helpful, yeah.
Would you have your iPhone?
My iPhone down there, right,
Okay.
watching that, Rocky.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Motivation.
trying to take tips from the real pros, and I was watching this, or read about the man in Chicago.
Yep.
And he's, I'm not big on hard rock, but he was
Right.
playing rock from the 70s. And,
Right, whatever
And,
that- yep,
and he
yep.
was talking to people and
Mhm.
that sort of thing.
Right. I love that. Also, I was reading about you. You sang, and you speak 4 different languages. Can you share some of that?
Okay. Well, I would say I speak 3 languages.
Okay. What languages?
English, Spanish, and Portuguese.
Okay.
And here's another thing for the aged in the crowd. Anybody that's over 62 or over in Minnesota can take courses free of charge, except for books, at any of the state institutions.
Yep.
So when I decided I was going to make a CD and sing in 5 languages
Right.
last year, I enrolled in freshman French and Italian at the university
For free.
for free.
Okay, will you repeat that? Anybody over what age can do what again for free? My audience.
If you live if you're a Minnesota resident, you probably don't even have to be a citizen. You can take any course, online or in person, I believe, at any state institution, state-sponsored institution. I went to the university. There are many
For
others.
free.
For free. Now, if there's books you have to get,
Sure.
you pay that fee, but it's
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yes,
I will use that.
Good. So I always, I knew a little French and a little Italian, but I attended and I became, I'm not fluent by any means, but I can speak them a little
enough
bit.
that you can communicate.
But good enough that
Right.
I can
Have a conversation.
pronounce, and I sang and I recorded some songs and I ran them by native speakers and they said, you might have a little accent, but it sounds pretty good.
Right.
The Spanish and Portuguese, when I sing, hopefully it's pretty much without accent and when I
Right.
speak
Good.
it.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you have you got some albums out or something?
I've got 2 CDs. The first one I did, this all happened after I retired, and I took vocal training,
Okay.
and I decided I wanted to combine it with my linguistic and ability, plus my love of like bossa nova from when it first started in the 60s.
I love that. Yes.
And so I was very lucky. I went to Brazil and I got hooked up with one of the top bossa nova guitarists in Rio, and who also happens to be a vocal coach, who also happens to have a recording studio
Okay.
in his house. So I
Wow.
went down there just to get some training with him, and I ended up making a CD and having a show in,
Wow.
in a club in Rio.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it was like a dream. Barely a year after starting vocal training.
Well, what did you sing?
What
when
did
you
I
were there?
say?
What did you sing there?
Okay, and that show was billed as a combination of Jobim, the great bossa nova singer and composer, and Sinatra, because they love Sinatra
I love
there
Sinatra, too.
So that they are revered there. Sinatra is revered there as much as he is here.
Okay.
And so the CD is Jobim and Sinatra, and one other, Louis Bonfa,
Right.
who wrote Mania de Carnaval, which is
Can you sing just 2 sentences of one of the songs you sang? 2 sentences.
Mania tal bonita, Mania. I hope that's enough. But that
like
was
that.
the first Brazilian song in 1958 from the movie Black Orpheus
Yep.
that got international renown and opened people's ears and minds to Brazilian music, and Jobim actually came a little bit after that.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful song.
I love it. I love it. So how do people hear about your music, first of all? How do
Well,
they know about it?
How would they know about it? Well, most people don't, but you
Okay.
can.
Do you have a website? Where can they go to if they want to
Yeah,
order it?
AndySteinfeldt.com. It's on, if you want to just order it by the song, it's on iTunes, it's on Amazon.
Under your name.
Under my name. And there's a more recent CD that I did with a fabulous, wonderful, beautiful Brazilian jazz singer, Celia Jones. And she also sings in 5 languages
Okay.
beautifully.
And what did you sing on that album?
That's songs, that's in 5 languages, but half of them are in English. And a lot of things from the 60s, like Beyond the Sea, which was written in French.
What are the words to that?
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me. That was Bobby Darin.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
In
Yeah.
the 60s.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was actually written in I believe, the 40s or 50s in France. And it's a
Right,
big,
okay,
big
okay.
hit in French, and then he made it popular here. So we sing a bilingual version, as we do with La Vie en Rose. We sing a bilingual version.
Okay.
And
I love it. And you also go around and you speak. So for speaking, if somebody wants to have you come to their, I spoke at an assisted living place 2 weeks ago in St. Paul. About 70 people. It's supposed to be, what do they call it, memory care people.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, best crowd I ever had in my life. They were hugging me. They loved me. I could see in places like that. So how do people get a hold of you for those kind of things?
Okay, well,
It was great.
I do that. I'm sure not as well as you. You're more seasoned than I am, but I love talking to people. I've spoken to
They'd love you there.
seniors down to 5th graders, and I love to do it all. And I don't really have a speaking website, but AndySteinfeldt.com, which is my music website,
Yep,
you can
get a hold of
contact me through that.
Yeah, because you're positive. You have such a positive attitude. When you were talking about you being diagnosed with cancer. You have such a positive attitude. And when I spoke there, they brought me in there because they said people there have such a negative attitude. They're looking at their wheelchairs. They're looking at that. I lost the sight in my eye, and they're hanging on to the pain. I mean, I'm totally blind in my right eye, as an example. And people, that pulls them down, and you want to draw people up higher. So people could use your message. You're a good example.
Yeah, thank you. I've overcome some things myself, but I know people that have overcome a lot more, and they motivate me. And one of them, I know a couple where the woman's got pretty severe MS.
Yes.
And I see her at the Y 3 times a week working out. Her husband's a gem, an angel, and he's lifting her on the machines, and she's doing all this
Right.
and all that. And she's there 3 times a week. And I know people that are my age and younger that are they don't have any handicaps.
Right.
And they can hardly fathom, they say, I try to get to the OI
Right.
once a week or something.
Yep.
So that couple motivates me. I've got another friend that lost a leg a couple years ago and was in the hospital for months and months and months. He was in an accident and had all kinds of horrible things that I won't go into, and finally he lost his leg. Not too many months later, he's got a prosthetic, and he's playing golf and walking and doing all this kind of stuff, and he never feels sorry for himself.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
people like that don't feel sorry for themselves.
Right.
I try not to. We all have those moments.
Yeah.
And I had the why me moments many times when I've had things, including
Right.
cancer.
Right.
And when I have those moments, and I wake up with them sometimes, I look at my watch. I'm too lazy to take it off when I go to sleep. And I give myself 15 minutes to get over it.
Okay. That's
Get
smart.
rid of those
That's
thoughts.
smart. That's smart. So what would you tell a viewer right now that's watching motivation that's maybe they're a little down? What could you say in the next 60 seconds to motivate them to really go for it, Andy?
Okay, well, I believe that you can overcome anything, even if you've got something dread that you can't overcome. If you got a fatal disease, you're not going to maybe overcome it, but you can live better, you can have a better attitude. And that's I guess that's my message. But for most of us who don't have a dread disease, who maybe have gotten overweight, like I have, it's something that I exercise. I'm at the gym once, twice a day. I'm running marathons, all this kind of stuff, and I still feel like I always have a few extra pounds. So it's something I'm fighting every day. Not really fighting, but trying to overcome.
Right.
But most of us have got a weight problem. Maybe we drink a little too much. Most of us don't eat the way we should. And we're not going to revolutionize that, at least not overnight. But we can always do a little better. And
On that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the audience, see the shirt? This is what Andy gets for coming on Motivation today. It is Live Longer, Fitness King, and Feel Better. Just for coming on Motivation. That's your gift from me.
that's very cool.
I know you'll wear it, and if you don't like that color, we have it in black as well. I want to thank you for coming on Motivation. It's
Thank
a
you
pleasure.
very much.
You've motivated me. I'm going to start working on trying to do a longer plank now,
Yeah.
just because of Andy Steinfeldt.
And good for you for doing all that you do, by the way. And thanks for contacting me.
Right.
And,
I appreciate having you on.
I'm a big fan now.
You have a great message, and folks at home, and all that you do, make sure that you stay fit, stay blessed, and keep watching Motivation, and make sure whatever you do, keep watching, because I'm going to be having some pictures of Andy coming up next. We're going to
still fight weight loss every day. I fight, it's like a recovered alcoholic that's been dry for 40 years. I'm still fighting that every day. I'm fighting depression every day. When I say I fight, I have things that creep up, and I have to deal with them, and I've got my ways of doing that. And